Mario is no stranger to RPGs, be them chibi style, paper style, or sibling style. But if you get out your Game Boy, you'll see the start of something great. So, I quite like games, as I'm sure many of us do, and I want to talk about this one, because I like it. Releasing on November 17th, 2003, Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga was the first game in the last big Mario RPG series to be made by a group of small developers known as Alpha Dream, following the groundwork of turn-based, charm-based RPGs with the plumber that started during the Super Mario RPG and Paper Mario series. And I think that's the best way to describe the game, with charm. This was way before the evil creativity drain of the 3DS and Wii U Nintendo, so Alpha Dream had a huge amount of freedom in their locations and characters, as evident by this game, but also the amount of personality that they were able to give the brothers. In this game, if you couldn't tell by the title, you play as both brothers, Mario with A, Luigi with B, as they traverse the Bean Kingdom. And I just want to go through a few key topics and discuss the game through them, starting with the story. The game opens with a terrorist attack. Nice. Princess Peach's voice is stolen and turned into bombs by the big green evil Cackletta. Someone better tell the Mario Bros, so off goes a Toad who ends up seeing Mario's super mushroom. Whoopsies! Now Mario and Bowser are ready to team up because Bowser doesn't want to kidnap Peach while her voice is literally made of bombs. Pretty understandably, in my opinion. Luigi plans to stay behind, but he's not allowed to be a bum, so he gets swept up with us and taken aboard Bowser's ship, which gets attacked and crashes into our destination of the Bean Kingdom. The rest of the game follows the journeys of the brothers along with the people of the Bean Kingdom to stop Cackletta from retrieving the Bean Star, which shatters into multiple pieces across the map after she tries to use Peach's voice to activate it. And thus is the story of a very simple yet very fun RPG. Similar to the previous RPGs, but just with its sublime new personality. When it comes to the gameplay, the game oozes with creativity. Although on second thought, that ooze might just be because I keep my copy in Mayo. As stated before, you control Mario with A, Luigi with B, and this is useful for traversal and combat throughout the game. Traversals such as platforming puzzles and mini-games, and of course, your turn-based combat just like the other RPGs, except items and Bros moves are now prevalent, which reutilize good timing with the A and B presses to maximize damage output onto these enemies. You have jumps, you have hammers for spiky enemies, and you also have spins and the ability to sink a bro into the ground. All of these extra abilities given to you during the overworld by usually other duos of red and green. And it aids massively throughout the puzzle creativity that they bring to this intricate world. And also in combat, because if you master these abilities, you can do any fight pretty quickly as well, which adds a nice skill ceiling without alienating new players who just want to use the jump and dodge all the time. Now I know what you might be thinking, Creature, fuck you. And to that I say, don't forget to like and subscribe because it helps. And now I want to talk about the areas, both the areas and the characters, but mainly the areas because they stand out to me the most when I'm thinking of this game. Obviously, I'm obliged to mention the brilliant Chucklehuck Woods, a woods that is famous due to its amazing cola that you end up meeting the creator of, who is actually making a beast formed of cola that you have to fight. And this just sidetracks me onto another topic that is just the bosses. Man, if you just take a look at some of the gameplay I'm going to show in the background, the bosses are so cool, so unique, and it's one of my favorite things about the game are these wacky boss fights. And in general, the combat system beautifully aids these fights, and I will talk about them a bit more later. I know I touched on them at the start, but I need to finish up my area yapping, so I obviously want to mention the university area of the game where you fight the viruses from Dr. Mario and eventually find Cackletta, where she meddles with the Bean Star and starts your quest of going across the map to retrieve its shards. Along with this, I have to mention the Bowser's Castle segment at the end of the game. It's really cool to have an open area inside the castle, as aside from a little bit of Mario RPG, I believe, you don't really see much of the interior of this place, especially in the 2D or the 3D games, so it's really nice to have this kind of layout for Bowser's Castle. I could also talk about the Stardust Fields, which is the first area of the game in the Bean Kingdom, this amazing purple area which is so unique for a starting point. A purple desert crash landing site is so cool, I love that. And of course the holy grail of Teehee Valley has to be brought up, this sand desert once sea with this amazing soundtrack over it that is stuck in my head forever and forever. And in fact, even though I already used it at the start of this video, I'm going to put it on again just so that you guys have the pleasure of listening it into the background of my stupid ramblings. I think when it comes to my gripes with this game, I think I just want to keep them in the middle of my kind of love sandwich that I've made with this game, because I really do love this game, but there are a little bits that are a bit more hit and miss for me. Sadly, Tiki Valley is plagued by a painful escort mission with Peach, where you can't let her get touched by any enemies, or she just collapses, gets taken away. And while the other power-ups seem like they make sense in the zany overworld that they've started, obviously you have spinning across platforms, or slamming Luigi down into the dirt and he can come back up like a drill, or making Mario big with water. And then you get to this beach temple segment and they just get fire and electricity, which it's cool. You have cool gimmicks, you can shock and you can do various things with the bros because of it, but it feels like a bit of a cop-out to just make these unique things up and then go, yeah, fuck it, fire and ice. Oh shit, we've already got a really cool ice temple, electricity. I don't know, man, it just kind of feels like they dropped the ball there. Although that could just be me. But for now, I want to give a few honorable mentions to a few of the cool characters. Prince Peasley is a smug motherfucker and he thinks he's the best, but he's alright, I kind of like him. Shout out to Rookie and Popple, there's kind of a silly story behind these lot. Bowser gets the shit beat out of him at the start and he loses all of his memory, so this little thieving guy takes him as a sidekick called Rookie, and you have these kind of boss fights with both Rookie and Popple, which is just Bowser who doesn't know that he's Bowser. And unfortunately, Cackletta gets a hold of him, which means that at the end of the game, you fight a Cackletta-infused Bowser that has... And before I mention what happens during this fight, I want to give a final shout out to two little things. First one being Forfall, the funny little green man of Cackletta's sidekick that says funny things like Think Rat and wears a bedazzling little suit for his fight. And another quick mention to the whole Bowser's Castle area as a whole, as it actually has you go through a bunch of mini-bosses with all the Koopalings. That's really cool. I do like that. I think it's really interesting. They all have little gimmicks for their fights as well. But now, can we just acknowledge that the Mario series and kind of Nintendo as a whole, they have a big thing with vor? Like, even in their new releases, in Donkey Kong Bonanza, you go into the big eel's mouth, and there's I feel like this is just a really common thing in Mario games. I feel like I'm struggling to come up with examples, but I can't be the only one that feels like getting eaten is really common. I mean, at least in the Alpha Dream games, I mean, in this one you get eaten. They made a whole game called Bowser's Inside Story where you're inside Bowser. In the second game, you go inside of this big Yoshi. Oh my god, I just thought of Inside Story again. The start of it has inflated toads and the blobs are fetish. And like, Bowletta says, take a relaxing break in my belly. You can't tell me that's not something. One of the developers wanted a relaxing break in there by the fucking looks of it. Okay. I'll calm down. The final fight is pretty cool. You fight Cackletta's soul, you have to remove the arms and the head to get access to the heart where you can actually do damage. The attacks, they take a lot of depth perception, pretty rough on a Game Boy screen, but it's unique. It's a cool gimmick. The final bosses are really where these games shine. The bosses in general, but the final bosses, they are really cool and very memorable. There's so much vor. There's so much porn.